Welcome to the Great Basin Smoke Dispersion Briefing for Friday, April 10th. Over the last 72 hours, the image on the left shows the precipitation we've seen with the most recent storm across the Great Basin, showing most of the precipitation in southern areas of the Great Basin. However, we have had some showers also wrapping around this area of low pressure over western and northern Nevada and northern Utah. However, the heaviest precipitation has been into southern and central California. Over the last 30 days, the percent of normal precipitation is on the right. You can see we've had well above normal precipitation over the last month over far southern Nevada, parts of the Arizona Strip and southern Utah, and also over parts of Idaho and Wyoming, and then back into California. Over the last 72 hours, we have had some new snowfall, the image on the left, mainly in the higher terrain, and especially into the central Sierra, and then the snow depth is shown in the image on the right. How this relates to normal, as you can see the image here showing really generally normal snowpack across much of the west, including the Great Basin. There are a couple pockets that are just above normal over southern areas of Utah, and then a few spots that are below normal over parts of Nevada and the Sierra, but largely much of the west is seeing near normal snowpack for the time of year. Looking at our evaporative demand drought index, we have no significant drought concerns across the entire west now that we've seen some cooler temperatures and precipitation. And looking at our satellite image from this morning, we still have an area of low pressure that has been bringing us precipitation over the last few days over southern areas of the Great Basin and southern California. It is now located over southern California and will continue moving eastward. Therefore, we'll see some clouds and showers today over southern areas of Nevada. As we move into later this afternoon, that area of low pressure is tracking very slowly to the east. So again, we'll see that those clouds and showers wrapping around that area of low pressure in southern areas of the Great Basin. We also have another cold front that will be dropping south into the northern Rockies, and this will impact northern and eastern areas of the basin as we move through this weekend. Looking at the ventilation index for today, we still have some breezy winds, so good ventilation and dispersion over southern and eastern areas of the Great Basin, and some lighter winds and poor dispersion over western areas. Looking at the wind fields, again, you can see these lighter winds over western Nevada. We do have some breezy winds in spots over Idaho, Wyoming, and parts of Utah, but no real strong winds to deal with today in a large scale. Mixing heights will remain relatively high over southern and eastern areas and just a little bit lower over western areas. As we move into Saturday, that area of low pressure moves eastward in the south, and then we see that cold front sweeping down into the northern Rockies. It will clip the Great Basin, so we will on Saturday and Sunday have some cooler temperatures for Idaho, Wyoming, and parts of northern Utah, along with some showers. We will see fairly good dispersion across the region. We will have those gustier winds as that system drops down from the north. So again, that will be the increase in winds along with the increase in ventilation across the region. Most of these wind gusts will generally be about 25 to 35 miles per hour, but certainly some stronger gusts are possible up across Idaho. And we will see high mixing heights region-wide. By Sunday, again, that cold front continues to dig southeast of the area, so we will start to see some improvement on western areas of the Great Basin, continuing warming and drying conditions as we move through Friday into the weekend and early part of next week. And fairly good dispersion. We will see some calmer areas over the Sierra and western Nevada, so we will see a little bit more poor dispersion in those areas. The strongest winds on Sunday will be located across the eastern half to two-thirds of Utah and parts of the Arizona Strip. Again, most gusts between 25 and 35 miles per hour, with much lighter winds across Idaho into western Nevada. Mixing heights, however, will remain moderate to high region-wide. Looking at the clearing index for Utah over the next few days, we will see lower clearing indices today over parts of northern Utah, but otherwise high clearing indices over the south and east. And then as we move through Saturday and Sunday with those gustier winds, we will see high clearing indices statewide. The 3-day amount of precipitation, we are looking at, again, some lighter precipitation continuing over southern areas of the basin, and then with that cold front pushing south and east into the Rockies and the northern plains, we will see some precipitation across Idaho, western Wyoming, and Utah, especially in the higher terrain. As we move into early next week, we will see warmer and drier conditions across the region. We do have somewhat of a ridge of high pressure off the west coast with some areas of low pressure that will be digging into the central part of the country. Looking at the ventilation index, we will have generally good dispersion region-wide on Monday. Moving into Tuesday, we see that northerly flow dropping systems down again into the Rockies. They will clip parts of Wyoming and maybe parts of Utah or eastern Idaho early next week. So we will see possibly some cooler temperatures, some gusty winds, and maybe some clouds or even light showers. Otherwise, good dispersion region-wide. As we move towards the middle of next week, we have another little area of low pressure that will be approaching the west coast. Mostly dry conditions, but we could see some clouds and showers start to develop, especially as we move into Thursday across California into western and southern Nevada. So we will see that pattern change again as we move into the middle to late part of next week. Otherwise, we will see some warming and drying across the basin. Good dispersion on Thursday over the eastern two-thirds of the area, and then closer to that area of low pressure where winds will be a little bit lighter. With more cloud cover, we will see poor dispersion. Looking at the precipitation accumulation, this is from Monday through Wednesday morning. Next week, again, not really seeing much in the way of precip across the Great Basin, but as we move towards Thursday and Friday, we'll start to see some of that precip develop on the western side. The 8 to 14 day outlook taking us into the latter part of April from the 17th to the 23rd shows warmer and drier conditions for the region, but likely towards the end of the month we'll have another system move in, dropping our temperatures and bringing us some light chances of precipitation. Also, we're in the time of thunderstorm season starting in April across the west, so we will start to see a little bit more lightning activity when we start getting showers. Even this weekend in the Sierra, we could see some buildups along the Sierra with some isolated thunderstorm activity as well, and that will increase as we go through the month of April. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back on Monday for the latest updates.